Good morning. Welcome to Morning Meeting. So here's what's on my mind this morning. First of all, I ate the frog and I got that job done. Got it done on Saturday. Yes. So now the next person can take the ball and run with it. They can just go, go, go. And I'll be cheering them on. And of course, there's more to do and I'll get it done. But I got the bulk of it done that needed to happen. And I'm just ecstatic that it's done. Number two, this was homecoming weekend. And so my daughter went to homecoming. She had fun. She and her friend stayed for like 45 minutes for the dance and then just out. She said the boys weren't having it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? The boys weren't having it. I'm like, okay. There's a mosh pit. They don't like that. So these kids apparently don't really dance. They just sort of have a mosh pit and jump up and down. And my kids don't like that. And her friends don't like it and blah, blah, blah. So they ended up hightailing it out of there and enjoyed their time elsewhere. So that's cool. No big deal. But here's the thing. Every time my kids have been involved in an activity like this, where they've gone to a homecoming or a prom, I reminisce and I think about, what it was like when I went to homecoming and Christmas prom, and which was a semi-formal at my school, and proms and things like that, and the importance that I placed and my friends placed on these things, and how dressed, the dress and getting dressed up for this, and my parents being involved in finding the dress, and blah, 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 and how much importance we placed on these events. And I'm thinking, wow, looking back, not all that important. Not all that important. And I really appreciate my kids' attitudes when it comes to this stuff, because they clearly already have it in their head that it's just not that important. It's not that critical. So they'll go, they'll make an appearance, whatever, but they're perfectly fine just moving on. In fact, they're fine with just skipping it. But what I've said to them is, hey, at least don't skip your senior year. Your senior year, you might actually regret that you didn't go to your last homecoming or your last prom. Looking back, you might be bothered by that. So just keep that in mind. I'm not saying they have to go. I'm just saying keep it in mind, and then they make up their own decision about that. But again, placing importance on something that overall in your life, how important was it that you went to these events, right? And I can say now, yeah, not that big a deal. I have good memories from them. Don't get me wrong. I have great memories from them, but the amount of importance that I placed on it was disproportionate to how important they actually are in the grand scheme of things in my life. And I think that happens a lot with us, right? We place importance on something that really isn't all that important, but in the moment, in the heat of the moment, in the emotion of the moment, we're deeming it super important and critical. And it's not until much later that we realize it just wasn't. And it can be something simple. It can be something seemingly big like homecoming and prom and all of that. Or it could be something really simple that we're placing importance on that's not important. I'll give you an example. I was at the store this weekend many more times than I wanted to be, quite frankly. And in one of those situations where I found myself, I was going through self-checkout because that's what I prefer. But even self-checkout had a line. And so I was waiting to get through the line, and some people were being a bit impatient about this process. One particular gentleman was sort of pacing back and forth with his cart, trying to find the shortest line. And I'm like, okay, if that's what you feel like you need to do. So then we get out, because he actually got through shortly after I did, and we're heading out of the store, and there's some people that are kind of moving out too that are in front of us, and he's in front of me, and I hear him just sort of berate the person in front of him to hurry up and to get out of the way. Oh my God, just get out of the way. That sort of thing. That may have been exactly what he said now that I think about it. And I'm thinking, wow, is someone like dying? Is that why you're being that rude right now? Because I couldn't understand it. But clearly, that person was placing importance on something that deemed that behavior important for him. That display of behavior was appropriate in his mind for whatever reason, because he had placed importance on something. Like I said, I don't know what it was, because in my mind, I'm thinking, if somebody's injured and you just found out, or they're in the hospital, or whatever, you drop the cart and run, right? You just boom, go. So I'm not quite sure what it would be that would facilitate the necessity to be that rude. And I'm interpreting it that way. It was, in my view, a very rude behavior that I witnessed. But again, it's placing importance on something that perhaps isn't all that important. How important is it to get through a line quickly and go somewhere else in the grand scheme of things? And quite frankly, if it's me and I'm running late, that's my fault. You know, if I'm running late and now I'm crunched for time to get that's me. That's my fault. I got to own that. But it's all about placing importance and labeling things as important because they really are important versus manufacturing something that just isn't important. And then we find out later how wrong we were about that label. That's something to think about, right? So that's on my mind this morning, all because of some interaction I had this weekend, or not even an interaction, it was more of an observation that I had this weekend. How am I labeling situations day to day as important or unimportant? And are they really? And am I mislabeling things? That's kind of what I'm thinking about. That and data entry. Yeah, still going to go do that. And work on one of my novels because I'm excited because I'm coming up with the scenes and it's super exciting. Anyway, leave a comment, subscribe, let me know what you think. See ya.